I just want to say a bit about glue because it's a topic I get asked about and it's not always easy to give a standard answer. But I thought it may help to give a bit of background. Historically, there were two types of glue used for bookbinding. Animal glue that was used for the spine, made from bone or hide or whatever. And that needed to be strong but also flexible when spines were rounded. And then various forms of paste that were used for covering material or pasting down end pages and so on. Now that changed in the early 20th century with the invention of PVA glue, or polyvinyl acetate. Don't ask me about the chemistry, but that basically became more or less a standard certainly for more basic forms of bookbinding, or at least for more basic forms of craft bookbinding. There are also hot glues that are used industrially, but I won't get into that. And so the videos I've done and the products I'm offering are all based on using PVA glue. People ask, well, what glue do you use? And that really depends on where you are in the world. There are special bookbinding PVAs that you can get. There's also EVA, but that's another topic I won't go into. And yeah, I mean, that's fine if you have access to them. But the reality is that you can also use a lot of other PVAs that are often sold as wood glue or paper glue. My experience is that they aren't always suitable, so it's a good idea to try them out. The important thing about glue for bookbinding, or at least for some aspects of bookbinding, is that it needs to be flexible. And I found that one way of determining whether the PVA you find is suitable is to simply paint a bit on a bit of plastic and let it dry. And when it's dry, you can sort of see whether it's flexible or not. So this is still a bit damp, but you can see that even once it dries, it remains flexible. And that's a good way of at least in my experience, a good way of trying it out. For any South Africans who ask this question, and perhaps I should do something else specifically on South African supplies because we have a great problem getting hold of things. I have found, and other binders I've spoken to have found, that the alkaline cold wood glue, I usually get it in big buckets, but my bucket is holding up my light, that's quite a helpful one. Some of the others I've found haven't been all that good, and one paper glue that I tried also wasn't very suitable. So, but yeah, depending on where you are in the world, you'll have to see what's available and possibly just, get something and try it out. So everything I'm putting up, sort of basic bookbinding things for beginners, assumes using PVA. The only slight exception to that might be that when you are casing in your book and gluing down the end pages, you might want to rather consider using paste or else a mixture of paste and PVA. This is just a simple wheat paste that I've made now. I do have a video on it somewhere I'll link to. And the advantage of paste is that it dries much slower, so it gives you more time to manipulate the book. What you can also do is make a mixture of paste and PVA. which sort of is halfway between the two. It allows you more time, but it's not quite as slow as the paste. It also has the advantage, at least with my PVA, of staying okay in the fridge, presumably because that's got something nasty in it. But the disadvantage with paste is that it doesn't last. You really need to make it fresh each time. So making a mix of PVA and paste can be a good idea. But yeah, if you're starting out, I'd say the only time that you might want to use that is when you paste things down. It's also, yeah, I sometimes use it for leather work where I'm wanting time to with debossed images and things that I want it to dry slowly, but that's another topic. So I hope that just gives you a rough overview of glue. Basically, just find a suitable PVA glue that works. If it's a specific bookbinding one, fine, but it doesn't need to be. You could find a wood glue that's perfectly good. So I hope that's helpful.